Hello, my name is Maverick Collins. This is my submission for exercise 6, CST-105. And we are tasked with building a class that would encrypt a file input. It would first put it into a 2D array. It's not I'm thinking about. I'm not even sure why we had to do that because the assignment didn't want us to output this 2D array. Um, anyhow, I create the array, and then from creating the array, the 2D array, after filtering out the rows by even and odd rows and messing with the input, we wanted to encrypt, I guess I get it now, to encrypt the array all into one line. And so basically what I had to do was first I inputted the um, text, and the rest is Rust and Stardust. Okay, so we save that outside in the project here. I then created this is from our notes in class, this class array in 2D, which is going to be used to create our table. Max rows, max columns are instantiated with a static value. They're then going to be able to be altered by the user. So that's why they're public. And this is the constructor here. So, and it's going to return the table value. So back to our main driver here. So basically we create the array, 2D array. We're gonna call it object because we're creating the object. I then instantiated a string called file name. So that allows the user to change the input file, which was part of the exercise 6 requirements for any input file and for any size row or column. And that's what we're passing through here. I guess I didn't cover that. So yeah, in the constructor, it's going to pass through rows and columns, and those could be instantiated by the user here. So for this scenario, we're doing 4 rows, 8 columns per the problem description. We're then going to initialize the file objects, the file object and then the scanner object. Then we're going to pass through the, in this case, it's going to be called input, but the file is going to be passed through input file, file is going to be passed through the file is going to be passed through the scanner. So the scanner is going to read in the file. And then this is going to limit the entire file as the input. And then the input's going to pass through this for loop. So basically this for loop's going to take the input, the string, and it's going to pass through every character into this for loop and give it a subsequent, I guess I'm going to call this, even though the problem description didn't want us to display it. I'm just going to display it for the sake of the video. It's easier to explain what's going on. So created this display array. So as you can see, we started with, and the rest is Rust and Stardust. And then we're going to go ahead and convert this array into this 4x8 grid. And so if it's even, I believe, let's see, if it is even, so mod 2 is 0, aka if it's even, we just want to input every character in the 2D array, just character by character. And then for the odd rows, so here's row 1. It's going to then start with the rest is and basically put it in backwards. So the R will go on the very right-hand side of the 2D array and then work its way forward. So REST, rest, space, is. Then for even, it's going to go back to left to right. And then for odd, again, for Stardust, it's going to go right to left. So space, ST. So anyhow, I guess I do see why we did that. Interesting that Instructor Demland didn't want us to display it. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. Run it again. So that's the result. We'll get there. So basically, I guess it's as simple as, or shouldn't have that back in here. This display array is the exact same for the encryption. The only difference is one calls it columns first, and then the encrypt array in line, and we get rid of the yeah, we take this print line outside the for loop, and for the display array, we have the print line inside the for loops. So it's the only difference is here. So it's going rows by columns for a normal display for this guy. And then for the actual output, the encryption, the deliverable encrypt array in line, it's going columns first, then rows for your IJ. And so it's going to print out for every row. I guess this should be column row. I don't think it makes a difference. We're just going to leave it because it's working. Basically, it's going to go through the first column. It's then going to pull every row. Boom, 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 boom. So it's going to pull A space RS, as you can see here. A space RS. It's then going to go right back up to the second column and go all the way down. NSU, NSUU, right? Yep. See that? NSUU, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Once you see the pattern, it's very straightforward. It took me a little while to get the business logic all organized. There's kind of a lot of moving pieces, but it was as simple as instantiating the 2D array, creating the scanner and the file objects to pass in the whole file, and then just strip it, parse it character by character, and then assign each character to the value in the 2D array, the IJ array. So very, very simple, very straightforward. And then displaying it, obviously. Get rid of that. And there it is. If I were to do it better second time, I had troubles trying to pass through the file name here in my object. It was running into all sorts of issues. So I just left it outside of the object. And then manipulate so I create the object, create the 2D array, and then we're just reassigning the values here in the main driver as opposed to inside the object itself. That would be a refactor that I could do in the future. But this works, and it prints out the output that was required from Instructor Demland. Again, these could be manipulated for any size input, any size array, so long as there's spaces. I saw the thing about the stars in exercise 5 where when it presented the problem to us, it wanted to put a star in for blank spaces. However, in the output for when we're in the actual exercise 6, you don't have the stars. So I was a little confused. So I chose to leave them out because in the exercise 6 deliverable output string, it has no stars. But in the exercise 5 introduction, meaning the flow chart, when we include, the next assignment's flow chart, it included the stars. So anyhow, there was some miscommunication on that. So for the sake of the exercise, I decided to leave them out because they weren't explicitly included in the output of this exercise 6 deliverable. So just thought I'd clarify that with that caveat. Anyhow, as always, long-winded explanation. Very simple, straightforward 2D array, and a couple display functions. This method is not being utilized, so just be aware of that when you're observing my submission. Only this one is being used as per the requirements. As you can see here, that's all the instructor wanted from us was this output. All right, thank you. We'll see you in the next one for 7 and 8.